Kal Kadosh, Boker Or, Masechet Horayot, Daf Yomi, Daf Yud Bet Amud Aleph, 12a1. Says the Gemara, right? Horayot, yeah. Umi hava shemen amishcha. Are you going to tell me that there was shemen amishcha during the time of Yoachaz? Batanya, we learned in a Braita, Mishenignaz Aaron. Once Aaron Adut was placed in Geniza, which is basically after the first Bet Hamikdash, Nignaz, right? Shemen amishcha, Betzinzenet Aman, Makro shel Aaron, Shkadea v'Frachea. So imagine when the Aron HaKodesh was put in Geniza, okay, and this was during the time of Yoshiyahu. So therefore, what happened, right? How do you call this? Everything was put in Geniza. Here it says the Gemara Masechet Yoma brings down that there's machloket Tanaim. There's even one Tana that holds that the Aron was sent into Galut. Okay, but according to the other one, it was put into Geniza. So therefore, during the time when the Aron HaKodesh was put in Geniza, so too was put in Geniza the Shemen HaMishcha. And besides the Shemen HaMishcha, the anointing oil, Sinsenet Aman. What is the Sinsenet Aman? What's Sinsenet Aman? The manna. The manna was put into a Sinsenet, and it was kept in a see-through container for generations. So we would always say, this is the food that HaKadosh Baruch Hu came and he gave, right, to Bnei Yisrael the entire 40 years in the desert. So that was also put in Geniza. What else? The Maklo shel Aaron. What is Maklo shel Aaron? The staff of Aaron that it grew, the Shkedim and all those things also, right? Yeah, the Shkedim and the Prachim. Next, also the Argat Shalchu Plishtim Doron Yisrael. The Plishtim came and they sent a present to Yisrael when they came and they made a war against us. Then afterwards, what happened was they sent a present. Shneimar b'says pasuk ve'kol hazahav ve'tkele hazahav shevotem lo Hashem tasimu b'argaz mitzido ve'shilachtem oto ve'halach. So says the Gemara, umi genazo. Are you going to come and tell me that they actually put the Aron and other things in, right? Sorry, umi genazo. Who was the one that did it? Yoshiyahu Melech Yehuda, Yoshiyahu Melech Yehuda. So it comes out that Yoshiyahu Melech Yehuda came and he put in Geniza, the Aron, and all these things. So he says, Sherash HaKatuv Torah, but it's written in the Torah, Yolech Hashem otcha v'malkecha, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to come and take you and your king to a nation which they didn't know. Asher takim alech al goya shelo yadata v'tav avotecha. So Yoshiyahu and Navi understood that they're going to go to Bavel. So he didn't want that they should go to Geniza. So Tziva v'ganzum. So he commanded them and they put it in Geniza. Yeah. Here it says that Yoshiyahu a tzaddik was a tzaddik gamur, not like his father and grandfather Amon and Menashe. So because of that, he already knew what was going to happen. So he didn't want them to go and take it to Bavel. So he went and they put it in Geniza. שנאמר ויאמר ללווים המבינים לכל ישראל הקדושים להשם תנו את ארון הקדוש בבית אשר בנה שלמה בן דוד מלך ישראל, right? אין לכם מסע בכתף עתה עבדו את השם אלוקיכם ואת עמו ישראל. So therefore he's going to come, so they come and they put it in Geniza. ואמר רבי אלעזר, says רבי אלעזר, עתיה שם. What does that mean? הגזרה שווה, שם. Because it says, ונועדתי לך שם, דיברתי לך בין הכבורת, and it says, וידעו לשם, ונועדי שמה לבני ישראל, שם. So it is משמרת, זה משמרת. אנחנו משמרת לא לכם, and it says also, משמרת לא לבני מרי. עתיה דורות. By the צנצנת המן, it says, משמרת לא לכם, and דורות. So basically, each one of these is teaching you a גזרה שווה on what we're talking about. So, the sham is Aron HaKodesh. But it says, sham, right? I'm going to place myself there and I'm going to speak to you from over there, right? And then it says, sham livnei Yisrael. By Tzinsenet Aman, it says, mishmeret. But it says, that's going to be for generations. So just like Tzinsenet Aman was put in Geniza, so to the Makel of Aaron. But it says, it says also that's Parashat Korach. Atya dorot. Tzinsenet Aman was put because it says, dorot. And it also said by Shemen HaMishcha, Shemen HaMishcha, Dorot. So basically, any time that it was a Gezirah Shava, they learned that it also applied to other things. So what was putting in Izah? Aron HaKodesh, Tzinsenet Aman, Makel of Aaron, and the Shemen HaMishcha. Capish? So answers the Gemara, the same answer that we answered yesterday, Amar of Papa, you're right. When they anointed him, they didn't anoint him with the Shemen HaMishcha. They anointed him with a persimmon oil. You know what that is? אתה לא יודע מה זה אפרסמון? So persimmon oil.
חצי שנה.
Huh? Huh? You didn't see a persimmon? Yeah. Tanu Rabbanan, we learned in the Braita. Ketza moshkin et melachim. How do you come and you do meshicha, the shemen mishcha, to the melachim of Bet David? So they come and they dip their finger in the shemen, kemin nezer, right? Which means that they come and they go around, right, his entire head, like a crown, right? Veta kohanim. What about the kohanim? Are you with me? When they're going to do the Kohen Gadol, kemin chi. So says the Gemara, what's kemin chi now? You're gonna, I understood, you do take the king and you make it like a crown around him. So you're hinting to him, shielo keter berosho, right? Keter berosho natatalo. Yeah, it makes sense. What about the Kohanim? Yeah? So you come and he says, Amar Menashe bar gada kemin chaf yevani. Like a chaf yevani. What's a chaf yevani, by the way? It looks like a chet. Yeah, look in Rashi. You see it? It's like a chet. It's a little bit different. In the art scroll on the bottom, he has like, it's almost like a chet, but just the left foot doesn't go until the bottom. But basically, it's like a chet. Look at Rashi. Everyone sees Rashi? Yeah, doctor, you see it? Or, you don't have Rashi. Sorry, doctor. Look at Rashi. Show him Rashi. There's the letter chet. Right? There it says, Le'orev kacha yevani kazeh. Like the letter chet. Okay? Fine. Next. Tani chada batchila, one right thought. Batchila motzkin shemen al rosho. Right? At the beginning, they're going to come and they're going to put a little bit on his head. Then they're going to put it in between his riseinav. How do you say the risim? The eyelashes, no? Mm-hmm. Yeah, eyelashes. Yeah. Vetanya achariti. Right? And the other one taught, and then afterwards they put it on rosho. So it's basically a fuch, right? So it says the Gemara tonight here, right? It's a machlok tonight. Make it up, and some people say it's meshicha difa. You can't yitzika difa. Is it better to do meshicha or yitzika? Yitzika is pouring, and meshicha is anointing, like smearing, right? Like Moshe, right? So which one's more important? So my time, what's yitzika is better? Right? First yitzika and then meshicha. But according to the Mandama, meshicha difa, but it's written my tama shekena tamotze etzel kli hasharet. Right? Because it's written by Kli al-Sharef, first Meshicha, and then afterwards Yitzika. Ve'aktiva Yitzok v'sov Yimshach. So it says, Hachi kaman. My time, what's your reasoning why you're doing Vayitzok? Because of Vayimshach. Okay, so basically, again, Machloket Tanaim, what's more important? The pouring or the anointing, which is the actual, you have to do both. The question is, which one comes first? Tanu Rabbanan, we learned in the Braita, Kashemen Atov Yered ala Zakan, Zakan Aaron, Kemin Shne Tipe Margaliot. So says the Gemara, Kashemen Atov, Yored al Zakan, Zakan Aaron, Kemin Shne Tipe Margaliot, which means the Shemen Mishcha came like two different drops, like Margaliot. So it says they went down, right? And Hayut Liot Laaron Bizkano, and it was in the beard of Aaron HaKohen. So Amar of Papa says, Tana, Keshu Misaper Olot. When he used to speak with other people, those tipot shemen used to come up, Yoshua because and then used to be right beside his flesh, right? In order that it shouldn't come and fall off the beard when he's speaking. So Moshe Rabbeinu was afraid. Why? Shema chas v'shalom, ma'alti b'shem mishcha. Maybe did milah. So he says, Yatza bat kol v'amra, kashem natov ketal chemon, ma tal chemon, just like by tal chemon there's no milah, meaning the tal and Eretz Yisrael and the har chemon there's no milah. So the Shem mishcha there's no milah. But then Aaron was zoheg. Amar, maybe Hashem Moshe lo mal, אבל אני malti. He didn't do milah, but I did milah. Yatza bat kol v'amra lo, hine ma tov u'mana'im. Shevet achim yom yachad. That's the next perek of the Tehillim, by the way. Right? That's that perek of Tehillim. Capish? Yeah? So he says, right? Shevet ma Moshe lo ma'al, af ata lo ma'alta. Tanu Rabbanan, we learned to write and moshchim et melachim. Ela al hamayan. They only do the meshicha beside a spring of water. כדי שתימשך מלכותם, because they wanted that it should spring, it should continue the flow, right? For a long time, שנאמר, ויאמר המלך להם, קחו עמכם את עט עבדי אדוניכם והורדתם אותו אל גיחון, ומשך אותו שם, because from there, so they used to do it by the גיחון, which is basically, again, a spring of water. אמר רבי ימי, says, רבי היימן, בא לידע, אם מסיק שתה או לא, if somebody wants to know if he's going to live the year or not, נת לשרגה, בעשרה יומי, בין ראש השנה ויום הכיפורים. Wow, look at this. ממש עניין הדיומה. Yeah, you missed a shiur last night, a bomb. חבל לך על הזמן.
לא היית. הייתי במצווה אחרת.
Yeah. Yeah, so he comes and he says like this. He says that if a person wants to know if he's going to live the year or not, light a candle during a Seret Teshuvah, between Rosh Hashanah and Kippur, beveita delo nashiv zika, in a house that there's no ruach. There's no wind. If it's going to be, right, that it's going to light, yeah, and it's not going to turn off, he's going to know that he's going to live the year. And if he wants to also do a certain business, and if he wants to know whether he's going to have atzlacha or not, bring a tarnegol. Interesting. You have to call the tarnegol on that business. Ishamin v'shapar matzlach. If the tarnegol is going to become all fattened and good, you're going to have atzlacha. Yeah, are you listening? I'm giving you the secrets to success, and then you call the name chicken food art. Call him whatever it is. Now you're going to find out, is this chicken going to become fattened up or is it going to become skinny like I don't know what? And then you know if you're going to have atzlacha. Yeah, something incredible. Yeah, I'm giving you simanim. Yeah? What's a Tiffany, no? You're going to come, yeah? Oh, it's, huh?
Where am I going to get the chicken?
Buy a chicken. You can buy the very cheap chickens. Live chicken, take a rooster, buy it, fatten them up, and you're going to have tzlacha b'ezrat Hashem. Okay? So he says, I'm on the bayel lemeipak leorcha. If somebody wants to go out on the path, and he wants to know, should he come back home? Is he's going to come back home or not? Because remember, they used to leave their houses. They don't know if they're coming back. Right? The paths were dangerous. Right? They're leaving their house. They're going on a journey. You know how many things could happen on a journey? Right? They come, they this, that. They don't know what's going on. So what happens? Right? Go in a place which is dark. Right? Ichazi and right, a little bit dark. Right? And he says, Ichazi bavoa de bavoa, if he's going to see the tzel tzilo, which is the shadow of a shade, right? He's going to come back home. This is what they tell you to do on the night of Hoshana Rabbah. You remember? This. If a person has a shade in the shade, so he knows he's going to live the year. Yeah. Hoshana Rabbah. I never heard about it in Kippur. Hoshana Rabbah.
לא, שאין לו צל.
Yeah. יש לו שתי צלס.
לא, אני מדבר עם בן אדם רואה שאין לו צל.
אם אין לו צל, אז זה בעיה. Yeah, that's a problem. And that's on Hoshana Rabbah night. Yeah. On the what?
Oh, that's the water. The water goes in. Yes, and then we do it.
באמת? What do you mean? How does it come back? What does that mean?
The water, the flow is going, and usually the water is coming back, like the sea. I don't know. So if you throw water, that means that you will come back.
Okay. Interesting.
הלכתי לצבא, הם זורקים על הפוסמיים.
באמת? Okay, I know. Okay, very good. So says the Gemara, velav miltahi. So he says, but it's not proper to do such a thing, right? To look at the thing. Why? Because sometimes you don't see it and he still comes home. So you shouldn't do a dil machal shadateu mitra mazaleh, because then maybe a person will become bad, right? And then he's gonna make his own bad mazal. Meaning, says the Gemara, a person shouldn't start looking for a shade, because sometimes even if he doesn't have the shade, he's still gonna come home. And then he gets into problems, because it could be that he didn't see the shade. So all of a sudden he becomes all sad and then he himself is bringing down his mazal. So therefore he says, better not to do such a thing. Amar Abaye says, Hash demarta simana milta. But either you just said simana milta, right? Leolam yehe ragil lemechze bereshata kara rubia karte silka vetamre. Incredible. This is tomorrow's daf, by the way, right? Rosh Hashanah. that because we just said that simanim is something, is very important. So therefore, a person always has to be very accustomed that on Rosh Hashanah, he's going to have kra. What is kra? Pumpkin, dalat, right? Pumpkin, or they use another word, gourd. Yeah. Or he says rubia. Yeah, tiltan, sesame. Karti, leeks. We do sesames. Fine. What's rubia? What do you use for rubia?
רוביה זה הירק.
רימונים. יש כאלה שעושים רימונים.
באמת? Never.
רוביה זה כמו פולים כאלה, לא פולים, זה כמו הירוק הזה.
You use green beans. You use green beans. No, we use sesame seeds.
גם אנחנו זה, יש לזה.
Yeah.
חמתי
Or
עושה
sugar,
את זה,
we do with
כאילו,
sugar.
משהו כזה.
Yeah, we do with sugar. He does it with honey. We do it with sugar. Meaning we put
Sesame seed with sugar.
with sugar. That's what I just said.
Yeah.
Sesame seeds with sugar. But bahaki, you do the same?
Exactly.
Yeah, sesame seed with sugar. That's what I always saw by my grandparents. You should know that with my grandparents, even honey didn't exist. It was apple and sugar. It was not apple and honey. We went to an Ashkenazi school, so then we brought the apple and the honey, dipped the apple in the honey. In Morocco, it was apple and sugar, not honey.
לוביה זה לוביה, חילבה, סומסומן.
You understood? Very important. It's actually brought down in the halacha because honey, dvash, is midat adin. So they don't want it. So it used to be with sugar to make it sweet. It was never... כך כתוב, דבש. דבש זה מידת הדין. אתה שומע? כתוב, the Rama brings down תפוח בדבש. ובמועד לאכול חי. מי זה מועד לאכול חי? רבי חיים פלאצ'ה. וחיים פלאצ'ה. איזמיר. כתב שתפוח יעשנו בסוכר ולא בדבש. He says you should do it with סוכר, not with דבש. כי בעשרת ימי תשובה ראוי להחמיר שלא לאכול דבש. ואם מוצא דבש עם שעבה, מה טוב. He says. Right? It's brought down also in the שופר בציון. רב בצי. כן. It's also יפה ללב, תורס האחרון, right? Fine. Some people will תרוג, but it's brought down. But if I remember correctly, it's not only that. If I remember correctly, it's almost everybody. So after that, we have karte. Karte is leeks, silka, selek, and tamret marim, dates. Yeah. So ama lehur of mesharshia. Ama lehur of mesharshia. Libnei says of mesharshia to his son. Ki baitu me'alu migmene kamera baichu. When you want to come in front of your rabbis, girsu matnita ve'ulu kamera baichu. First, learn it well, and then come in. Right. So when you're going to lishol kainyan. Meaning, people they come to a shiur, they're not even, they start asking shtuyot, they start, so what do? Learn it first, and then come into the rabbi. Huh? So when you're going to come and you're going to, yeah, right, you're going to, yeah, he comes and he says, when you're going to be sitting right in front, you're going to see his mouth, right? Did you understand? Some people, they don't want to look at the face of the rabbi, right? I see it all the time. I'm in the middle of giving a speech and they're reading Dvarim, right? So what happens? Yeah. So what happens? You have to look at the rabbi. Why? You have to see, right? Some people think, no, I'm just listening. No, it's okay. I have somebody all the time. No, I'm listening. Why are you listening? You're in the middle. Yeah, you're listening. You're listening to everybody else except for me. And no, you're listening. But again, that's what it is. So he said, when you're going to be learning, do it beside a river. Why are you going to do it beside a river? Because it's a good siman tov for your learning. Just like the water just flows, that it's going to flow as well. And it's better to sit in the ashpa of Mata Mechasya than to live in the palaces of Pumpedita. Why? I don't know. There's a lot of Talmidei Chachamim. And they have like very good midot. Right? So he says not in Pumbedita. He says Mata Mechasya. In Bavel. Two different places in Bavel. Mata Mechasya instead of Bavel. Instead of a Pumbedita. Yeah. So tav galda nasaria demata mechasel mechal. It's good to even eat a dag katan, right? Which is going to go off in mata mechasia than eating the good, like the good sour cream or whatever it is in the other place in Pumpadita, Dirami Kefi. They come and they breaks the people. Rama Karni. This is Vatitpalel Chana. When do we say Vatitpalel Chana? Haftara av. Chutz mikol boker. Haftara av. Rosh Hashanah. The first day of Rosh Hashanah. Vatitpalel Chana v'tumar Rama Karni ba'Hashem. Rama Karni velo Rama Paki. What does that mean? She had a nevuah that it's not going to be a Tzromenut Gedolah. Right? Ela lidei keren shel be'ema. What does that mean? David and Shlomo nimshechu bekeren. Right? How were they anointed? With a keren of a be'ema. So he says nimshecham mulachutan. So therefore the keren of the shofar. So therefore they had a long thing. Shaul v'Yehu nimshach bepach. They were done in the meshicha with a pach shel shemen, with a jug. So what happened? Lo nimshecha malchatan nifseka zaram. Right? They didn't. Their kingdom did not continue. Right? Mashuach b'shem mishcha. Right? We said, Tanu Rav, we learned in the Braita. Okay, we're going back. Okay, everybody with me? 2 dots towards the bottom. Tanu Rav, we learned in the Braita. Mashiach. Imakona Mashiach yecheta. Yachol melech. I would have thought to say, even if he's going to be showing Mashuach b'shem mishcha, tamalumar, hakohen. Right? Kohen HaMashiach. Iya Kohen, yachol afilu bebegadim. Tamalumar, no. Kohen HaMashiach has to be dafka, he was anointed with oil. So im Mashiach, yachol nishuach milchama, so even if he's going out to war, tamalumar v'kohen HaMashiach. What does that mean? HaKohen HaMashiach, she'en Mashiach al gabav. There's nobody else on top of him, which means that he's the Kohen Gadol. It's not the Kohen that goes out to war. Because remember, there was a Kohen that used to go out to war, but it's not him. He wasn't the one that... it's Davka, the Kohen HaMashiach. My mashva, how do you know that? He says, just like Rava said, right? It says, Asher al-kafa yarech, hamyumenet shabi yarech, right? The chashuv of the yarech. Hacharam Mashiach means a Yuman Shabi Meshuchim, the best of the Meshuchim, which means the Kohen Gadol, the regular Kohen Gadol, not the one that goes out to war. So Amar Mor HaMashiach Yachol Melech. I would have thought to say it's going to be the king. Melech Paru D'Maiti, right? The Sayyid D'Maiti. He says the Melech doesn't bring a par. The Melech brings the Sayyid. So he says Yitzich you need it. Tzakad I would have thought to say Yavi Sayyid Ve'al Helem Davar you're going to bring a par. Kamashmalan that it's Avka Kohen HaMashiach. Okay, there's no difference between Kohen Gadol, Mashuach B'Shemen Mishcha or Merubah B'Gadim. Ela par abal kol mitzvot, right? And asirit ha'efa. You remember? We said, what's the remember, the second Bet HaMikdash, it was only merubeh b'gadim. He only had more clothing, but there was no inauguration with oil. Right? There was no such thing as that. So if Be'emet it's like that, so what's the difference between them? He says the difference between them is going to be para bal kol mitzvot and asirit ha'efa. That it's only the Kohen Gadol that is doing it, and not any other Kohen Gadol, which is going to be even merubeh b'gadim. So matnitin is not like Rabbi Meir. But if it's going to be like Rabbi Meir, Hatanya, we already learned to the Braita. Merubeh b'gadim mevi parakol mitzvot Rabbi Meir velo hodulu chachamim. The chachamim did not agree to him. My time at Rabbi Meir, what's the reason in Rabbi Meir? So Tanya was learned to the Braita. Mashiach en li ela Mashiach v'shem mishcha. Merubeh b'gadim minayin tamalomar hakohen HaMashiach. So says the Gemara, b'may ukimta k'Rabbanan. Why are you telling me that it's like Rabbanan? You bet amubet 12b. Ema seifa. Let's see the seifa. The seifa says. En ben Kohen Gadol mishamesh le Kohen Gadol she'avar. There's no difference in a Kohen Gadol which is right now the Kohen Gadol and a Kohen Gadol which retired only in these 2 halachot, Par Yom Kippurim and Asirit ha'efa. So says the Gemara. Atan le Rabbi Meir. This comes according to Rabbi Meir. Zeri we learned to Rabbi Ita. Irabo psul be Kohen Gadol ve'avar uminu a Kohen Gadol Kohen acher tachtav. He says, what happens right now if there was going to be a psul? And then they put another Kohen instead of him. Yeah, Arishon Chozel Avodatov Hasheni, right? Kol mitzvot kiuna alav. The second one, he has all the mitzvot of kiuna, but that's it. The first one goes back to his job. These are the words of Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yosef Omer, Arishon Chozel Avodatov. The first one goes back. The sheni eno ra'ui. He doesn't do anything. Not for a Kohen Gadol, not for a Kohen Idiot. Amar Rabbi Yosef, Maaseh Yosef ben Elim tzipor. Yisharabo psul beKohen Gadol. Right, and then somebody, they took him off. Uminiuhu תחתיו, ובא מעשה בני חבר ואמרו, תישון חוזר ודוב, ושני אינו ראוי, לא לכהן גדול, לא לכהן אדיוט. כהן גדול because of איבה, כהן אדיוט משום מעלים בקודש, ואין מורידין. Everyone understood what happened? Something incredible. You have a כהן גדול. You have a כהן גדול. What happens right now if there was a psul? No. He's got a certain defect. He broke his arm or whatever it is. He can't work for a month. So what happens? They put him down. They put a replacement. That substitute is a machloket. According to the first shita, what he says is that placement is the Kohen until the regular Kohen comes back. When the regular Kohen Gadol comes back, he now is on the sidelines, but he's still able to do things. Kol mitzvot kiuna alav. He's still able to do everything. The second shita is no, he's not able to do nothing. Says the Gemara, why not? He says he can't do the service of the Kohen Gadol because then there's going to be animosity. Because Kilu, he's the one that like I'm the takeover, something like that. So therefore, we don't want to make the first Kohen Gadol feel bad. So therefore, he's not allowed to be like a Kohen Gadol. So says, okay, but make him a Kohen Idiot. You can't. Ma'alim b'kodesh v'moridin. So he's stuck. He has nothing. He cannot do nothing. He can't act as a Kohen Gadol because of animosity, and he can't act like a Kohen Idiot. It's ma'alim b'kodesh v'moridin.
But if the Kohen Gadol is sick,
There's the Gemara. So what's the difference between Kohen Meshamesh and Kohen Shavar? Pari Yom Kippur Basili Defa. Atan Rabbi Mead. This goes according to Rabbi Mead. Sorry, we just did this part. So he says you Ma'alim Kodesh Ve'Moredin. So says Reisha Rabbanan Ve'Seifa Rabbi Mead. Are you going to tell me the Reisha is going to be Rabbanan and Seifa Rabbi Mead? Amar Chasa says Chasa in yes. The Reisha is Rabbanan Ve'Seifa is going to be Rabbi Mead. Another answer of Yosef Amar. Rabbi here is Rabbi. Venasiv La'Liba Tanaim. He just says Machlok Tanaim. Rav Amar. Rav says another answer. It's Rabbi Shimon he. That he holds like Rabbi Mead in one, and he argues on Rabbi Mead in the other one. Okay? The Tanya was learned to the Braita. Devarim she'kohen sheben kohen gadol lekohen idiot. What are the differences between a kohen gadol and kohen idiot? Eluhem parba al kol mitzvot upariyom mekavrim v'asididefa shelo porea lo porem. Right? Remember that a kohen gadol, right? He brings a sidi taifa. He brings the pariyom mekavrim. He does not do priya or frima. He doesn't leave his hair long, or he doesn't tear his clothing if one of his family members passes away. Avalu porem milamata. He does it from the bottom. Right? Ve'ediot milamala. And the idiot, he does it from the top. Ve'eno metamel lekrovim. He doesn't even become tameh. You heard the difference between an idiot, right? A kohen idiot and a kohen gadol.
That's a question. Oh.
Yeah. So he says, right? He says, eno metameh lekrovim. Right? Umetzuve al abetula. So he could only get married to a betula. That's the Kohen Gadol. Yeah, ve'asur ba'almana. He's not allowed to come, right? He's not allowed to have an almana. Yeah, he's not allowed to get married to an almana. Umachzir et harotzeach. When he dies, he brings back the rotzeach from the Ir Miklat. Umakriv onen. He also brings the korban when he's going to be on inut, in onen. Ve'eno ochel ve'eno cholek. Right? And also he's not going to eat kochim during that time. And he's not going to be mechalek the kochim also during that time. Makriv chelek barosh. He's the first one to bring the korban, whichever one that he wants. Meaning whatever korban that he wants, he brings first. Imagine right now, you're in the middle, you want to do the service. Comes the Kohen Gadol, boom, takes it away from him. Any service that he does. Not only that, you want to divide the spoils, right? You want the korban. Also, what happens, right? Comes the Kohen Gadol, I want that piece of meat. And I want this. Kohen Gadol takes first. The Kohen Idiot, they just have to bite their tongues. Yeah, why? 100%. Of course. Until Mashiach comes, and then the Bechors take over, and the Kohanim are the bleachers. Yeah, so it says, ונותן חלק בראש, ומשמש בשמונה כלים. Yeah, וכל עבודת יום יהודים נקשר בו, אלא בו, הוא פטור על טומאה מקדש וקודשיו. He's going to be פטור on טומאה מקדש וקודשיו. וכולן, and all these halachot of the Kohen Gadol, נוהגים במרובע בגדים, are going to be also by a מרובע בגדים. That means even though he wasn't anointed to become the Kohen Gadol, you're looking it up. חוץ מפר הבא על כל המצוות, except for פר הבא על כל המצוות, וכולם נוהגים משיח שעבר. Same halacha would apply to a Kohen Gadol that was Mashuach, that he became pasul. חוץ מפר יום מקרבים, ועשירי דבר, אבל נוהגים משוח מלחמה. חוץ מחמישה דברים וברישה. There's only 5 things that are written by the parasha that the Kohen, right, of the war that he does. לא פורע ולא פורם, אינו מתאבן לקרובים, מצווה על הבתולה ואסור באלמנה. Look in the chart. You don't see the chart? Exactly. Look in the chart. The Kohen HaMashiach is the Kohen Gadol, anointed. Then you have Merubeh B'Gadim. So the only 2 differences between Merubeh B'Gadim is to do with Ptura al Migdash V'Kodeshav or Parabal Kol Mitzvot. Then you have Kohen Shavar. Kohen Shavar means that he retired. So he was in the past. And then you have Mashuach Milchama. Yes, that's called Kohen Shavar. Shavar, B'dimus.
At what point do they invent?
No, they decide usually. I guess when they can't do anything anymore. He's going to bring back the רוצח. He doesn't bring them back. Rabbi Shimon, right? He comes and says, "V'haim ma'ader Rabbi Shimon." How do you know it's Rabbi Shimon? Who's the one that says you're going to be patur from Mikdash Kodoshav? Rabbi Shimon. Okay, there are 5 things which are written in the parasha. So he says, how do we know these words? The Tanakh is learned to the right of a Kohen Gadol, Mechav ze Kohen Gadol, שיצעק על ראשו של המשחה זה משוח מלחמה, ומילא את ידו לבוש את הבגדים, זה מרובה בבגדים. כולנו אומר, so that pasuk, each one is a different entity. You got one for the Kohen Gadol, which was anointed, one for the Kohen Gadol, which is going to be the milchama, and one for the Kohen Gadol, which is מרובה בבגדים. So he says that in everyone it's written, ראשו ליפרע ובגדו ליפרע, וכל השם עלי יבוא. So lo yachol, I would have thought to say, Yukulan makrivinot onenim, that all of them also bring it when they're on ends. Tamunumar ki nezer shebimishchat alav elosho alav velo al chavero. Right, ve'achar shechilko hakatuv. Yachol, I would have thought to say lo yeh mitzvot al habetula tamunumar vehu. Okay, so says the Gemara ketanai. It's a machlok ketanai. Vehu isha bivtulei yikach. He has to take a betula. Achar shechalak hakatuv. Once the pasuk comes and it says achar. Ribad, it's coming to include that basically he's got a mitzvah to marry a betula. Right? That's only if somebody which was going to be a Kohen Gadol shavar mechamat keri. So he says, what about mechamat muin? Right? That means just like this. The Kohen Gadol comes, he becomes bal keri. You can't do the avodah, so they have to get somebody else. But what happens right now if it was that he became a balmum? So he comes and he says in a balmum tamulmar vehu. Ba'amine Rav Rav Nachman. Ask Rav from Rav Nachman. Mashiach shenitztara. What happens if you have a Kohen Gadol that he has tzarat? What's the halacha? Is he allowed to get married to a Malama? Midchadach, do you say that he's pushed off or on miftar part, or is he only patur? So love he didn't have an answer. So Papa, we come by. So he asked the question. Papa, Tanina, we learned it. But rather, right? It's mitchedachis. So therefore, since it's pushed off, you could actually get her. So he kissed him on the head. And he gave him his daughter to get married to her. He had the answer. Boom. He kisses him and he gives him the daughter. Okay, to get married. Fine. Next, Mishnah. Mishnah towards the bottom of Yudbet Amud Bet. It's the first Mishnah there. Okay, but there's 2 of them. Says the Mishnah, Kohen Gadol, porem milamata vehediot milamala. So the Kohen Gadol, he starts tearing his clothing when somebody passes away from the bottom. The Kohen Hediot from the top. Kohen Gadol makrivonin. Kohen Gadol is going to bring baninut. Right, velo chel, but he doesn't eat. Vehediot, he doesn't do anything. He doesn't bring it. He doesn't eat. Says the Gemara, Rav says, milemata lemata mamash, milemala lemala mamash. Ushmuel amar no, lemata is lemala, right? Lemala mikam misafa, velemala is right. So he says lemala, right? He says lemala mikam misafa. So right, betzava. So says the Gemara, Matri, we're going to ask the following question. Al kol hametim kulan ratzah mavdil kam misafa shelo. Ratzah mavdil kam misafa shelo. Alavi mimo mavdil. One second. He says like this. He says, Al kol hametim kulan ratzah mavdil kam misafa shelo. Ratzah mavdil kam misafa shelo. What does that mean? He comes and he says he's going to tear the bet tzavar mamash. He says alaviva limo, right? He has to tear it in 2. Mavdil kamesavala. Kevan dve alma vikera. So karikan. So he says since normally that's called a kera by other people. So he says karikan. So therefore on this action, it's called begadav lo yifrom. Mamash, he has to completely tear the clothing. Shmuel Rabbi Yisrael. So Shmuel holds like Rabbi Yehuda, right? Zamar. Al kera shelo mavdil tzava shelo al kol kera shel tiflut. He says if you can't tear it, right? But you're tearing it in such a fashion. He comes and he says, so then it's like nothing. There's no purpose of doing it. So says the Gemara, Yehuda kriya b'kohen gadol. He says, what you're supposed to actually do kriya? Vatanya yilu ne'emar rosho lifra v'gadol lifra. V'ayiti omer she'v'rosho v'ged she'asota k'tuv b'nebeh. So to b'nomar rosho lifra v'gadol lifrom, right? She'eno b'friya ufrima mamash kulikad divrei Yehuda. B'ishmael porem kedel shebnei adam pormim. He would tear it the way that other people tear it. Elahu lemata milamala, but he would just go from the bottom to the top instead of the top to the bottom. Meaning it's not the what you're doing, it's where do you do it. From bottom to top, like the direction. Bottom to top or top to bottom. That's it, but everything's the same. Shmuel Sabala Kavyuda Bechada Paligale, right Bechada. So he also Kavyuda in one and he argues on another. The next Mishnah, the last Mishnah on the page, it says, Kol Tadir Mechavero, Kodem et Chavero. Kol Tadir Sheno Tadir, Tadir, Kodem. V'chol Mekudash Mechavero. Whoever's more holy than his friend. Kodem et Chavero. Par Mashiach Par Haeda. Omdim. Right, what happens if you have all these three together? So he says, Para Mashiach Kodem Para Eda Bechol Masal. The Para Mashiach comes first. Says the Gemara, how do we know that you have to do Kol HaTadir V'Shegon Tadir Kodem? Minan Mila Rabbi Demakar. The pasuk says Bilvad Od Shel Olat HaTamid. Why do we have Michti Ktiv Olat HaBoker? Olat? Why do I have to say Olat HaTamid? Sachi Kamar Achmana Kol Tadira Kadma. Whatever's Tadir is always Kodem. V'chol HaMekudash Mechavero Kodem Mechavero. Minan, how do you know? Tana V'Yishmael V'Kidashto לכל דבר שבקדושה צריך לקדש אותו. לפתוח ראשון, לברך ראשון. ולתור למיון יפה ראשון. You give him the first in order to come and to give him. Have a wonderful day.